Hola mis serenitas, welcome to my channel. It's your girl Chiquita Serenita, and today we're going to do a review of Natasha Denona's new Bloom Palette. I got this, I think it was like, oh my god, I got it heck quick, the day of launch day, and then they must have delivered it, I think the second day, 2 days after. It was really quick. That same day they shipped it out, and I was actually surprised because normally it takes almost like a week to get to me, and it was pretty quick. Sephora, I bought it through Sephora. And I'm just so excited, you guys, because as soon as she didn't give us really a heads up like she normally does. It was literally like days before that she told us, like, I'm dropping it, you know? And it's so pretty. Look at these. She showed a little video of this like watercolor flower type of bloom, you know, design to it. So freaking pretty. I don't know. I saw the color story, you guys, and I actually like the color story. It reminded me a lot of I Need a Warm palette and the retro palette sort of like got together and had a baby. I will be doing some comparisons just to let you guys know. That'll be towards the end of the video. After the swatches, I'll do a little comparison to the I Need a Warm and the retro palette. And I have for reference the My Dream palette, I think it's called. Yeah, the My Dream palette. But just letting you guys know, it doesn't really look like the My Dream palette, but I figured some of the shades might be similar. I don't know, it had like the similar vibe going there. Anyways, when you take it out of the palette, this is how it is. Same, you know, design concept, but it has this very clear plastic. It's so freaking pretty in person. If you guys were to see it, like, Natasha does not hold back on the luxury feeling, you know. Like, you can tell her stuff is worth the money that you pay for it. When you open it up, it does have a little cover for the mirror. I always keep them on because if I ever decide to sell the palette in the future, I always leave it like that, because I normally just use, like, you know, like a little compact when I'm doing my makeup or whatever. And these are the shades. It's a very peachy pink almost feel to it. I know some people were like saying, you know, it reminded me. Obviously, like I said, it looks to me, I thought it, as soon as I saw it, I was like, that looks like I Need a Warm and retro palette had a baby together. That's what I thought, but I actually love the color story. I'm actually glad that the only one that I feel out of this entire, you know, palette that I can't really use would be Petal, which is a very light pink. I know some people tend to use those like up here, but I don't really, that's not my thing, so I don't really do stuff like that. But I loved it. I think I used 1, 2, 3, 4 of the shimmers today, and all of them worked for me. I used this one that's called Robin as my transition shade, and it worked perfectly for me. So let's get started to the swatches so we can move on to the comparison. This is going to be like a super short video. I don't think I'm going to jabber on that much. But yeah, let's start up here in the corner, and then I'm going to go clear across each of the rows until we get to the end of this pot, okay? The first shade is called Fluorescence. Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce that. Fluorescence, I think it's called. Fluorescent? No, it's not fluorescence. It might be fluorescent. I don't know. I'm looking at it wrong. It's a very beautiful peachy pink shimmer. I don't know if you guys want exact formulas. I would recommend looking up Natasha's swatches, because she always says, oh, it's a creamy matte, and then it's a cream to matte formula, and it's a umalescent, yeah, shimmer, mattes, glitter. I keep it real simple right here. I'm not going to go into detail like that, but you're more than welcome to watch look at her swatches, and she breaks down every single formula for you. Next one is Bark. This is just a matte. It feels like a soft matte. I don't think it's a cream to matte, but it does feel like a really soft matte. This is a nice brown. And then we have Keen. This is another matte. This is just very like a peachy pink. Yeah, it's like a light peach color. Next we have Ran Ren is just a pink matte, a very light baby pink almost. This is like a rosy tone pink, yeah. And it is a matte. This is such a pretty color. This is one of the ones, if I didn't have the one that I used for my Tristan shade, I would have totally went for this one. Next we have Fleur. Fleur. This one is a pink shimmer. It's like a pearlesque pink shimmer. And I use this one today as well. This is such a gorgeous tone. Next we have, in the next row we have Crisps. I use this as my inner corner highlight. I'm going to be honest with you guys. This one did not, it just didn't wow me. Because it was so sheer and light. It reminded me of a Super Shock shadow, but it didn't really stand out on its own. Because even though I used it as my inner corner highlight, it just, look, I'm already, what, 4 swatches in? And still, I feel like it's still very light, very clear. It doesn't have really a strong, opaque, you know, obviously, look at that. It looks like a topper. It looks like I could use it as a highlighter, you know, because it's right here, look it. And it just, I don't know, it just doesn't stand out. And it just, when something doesn't stand out to me, it sort of like gets lost in the background. I'm like, okay, what did you do? If you didn't obviously stand out from the other colors on my eye, then I'm over here saying like boring. Because that's how I take it. Everybody is different. So clearly someone's going to love that shade, but personally, it did nothing. It did nothing for my plate. Okay. Next we have Lush. Lush is such a pretty color. It's like this golden orange shimmer, and it has a lot of clear glitters, like gold glitters in there. I don't know. It's so freaking pretty. Look at it. Next we have Brick. Brick is such a pretty color because it's this orange harvest matte color of my dreams. These are the orange tones that I go for, especially if you know, when you say autumn, that's the hot, look at, that's the autumn. That's the autumn orange tone you want. And it's so random because almost all the colors in here are mostly on the pinkier side, and then you have this random really dark orange in there. I don't know. I was like, okay. But to me, I like it. Then we have Rue. Rue is a pink shimmer. It's on the thick side. But it's still pretty, right? Look at it. Floss is a pink matte. This is more like a deep rosy tone matte pink. Honestly, now that I'm feeling it on my finger, I think this is cream to matte. Don't quote me on that, but it feels like a cream to matte, and I'm not a huge fan of her cream to mattes. In general, any cream to matte. I have nothing against Natasha in that aspect, but any cream to matte, just, I don't like them. And like I said in the past, I have this really love-hate relationship with Natasha. A lot of her stuff draws me in, but then when I start using it, I'm like, what did you do, girl? What did you do? In the next row, we have Petal, which is that one light, super light. Y'all, this thing is so light, it looks like it's white on my skin tone. I don't like these tones. I don't like these ones. But I know this is going to work for obviously someone lighter than me. And I know that a lot of people like to use them up here as like brown bone type of highlighters. But for me personally, this is a no. It just looks more ashy on my skin tone, huh? Doesn't it? I don't know. I feel like it looks too pastel. Too opaque. I don't know. I don't like it. And then now we have Ember. I love Ember. Ember is just like this perfect blend of almost like a dark burgundy red. And then it has these little, I don't know if these are glitters or something. Like hot pink glitters in there. It's a creamy like shimmer formula. But it's super pretty in person. I thought about using that today on my outer before I did the other color that I used. But I was like, we started from the bottom, now we're here. I already started the thing. I had to finish it. Next we have Robin, which is my transition shade. This one's just a peachy pink matte. It's very, very pretty. I had no problems with this. I did only, the only thing I discovered with this one is that it wasn't dark enough for my personal preference. Because as I was adding it, I'm not saying it didn't show up. Clearly it did show up. But I felt like I had to really add it several times to be able to build the intensity that I wanted. And it just never became that intense. It got to maybe like a level 3 and it just never went to a level 5. Now, it might be just my skin tone because I noticed that a lot of Natasha palettes don't work for my skin tone or darker, and they'll totally work for people who are lighter than me. But some of the tones work for me and then a lot of the tones don't. It's very rare when you find a palette from Natasha that like the entire palette will work for us, right? I noticed that like obviously I need a warm. I had more success with the Zen, what was it? The My Dream palette, the darker tone ones. Obviously the darker tone ones with Natasha have worked for me, but like the lighter ones, no. Next we have Clover, and Clover is just this burgundy matte. It's almost like a dark, deep pink, and almost to the point where it's almost, it looks like a burgundy to me in the palette, but now that I'm like swatching it, it's like a dark pink, almost like a purple too. I don't know, that looks like a, I don't know, like a dark magenta sort of. I might be crazy. Last we have Equinox. Now Equinox, I love it. I love the shade, but it is on the sheer end. It is like a topper. It reminds me so much of this one that I did not like. It has a similar vibe going. In the palette, it looks like a mauvey purple pink. And it's a shimmer. It has a lot of little micro glitters in there that are like silver, I think. And then, I don't know, they just look very silver. But I had to add this. I added it right here. So it's a pretty shade, but it doesn't really stand out. And I feel like it mixed with the other ones. See how it looks right here? I don't know if you guys can tell. It looks more on the mauve pink type of end. But then when I applied it to my eye, and then I added the other tone, because I don't know if you guys could tell, I added 2 shades, right? I added this one right here is the Equinox, and then this one is a total different shade. Obviously this is my darkening shade right here, and then I have another one right here, and then my inner corner highlight. But still, like, can you see that there's another shade right here, and then Equinox is right here? Because I feel like you guys can't even tell. I forgot to show you guys my eye look today, but that was it. I did make a TikTok, so you guys are going to see a TikTok. Now, I'm not saying I don't like the look. The look is pretty. It's just, homegirl got a little lost in transition. Is that a bad thing? Not necessarily. Because, like, come on. She blended to perfection. But still, like, they're not standing out. And I like you to see that shift between one color to the next color. I like mine to stand out in that way. Now, standing out does not mean I don't want it to blend. I want it to blend. But I want it to, homegirl, to stand out and be like, look at me, I'm here. You know? I don't know. That's the way I think. So these are all the shade tones, you guys, of this palette. And it's really up to you guys if you guys want to buy it or no. Because, you know, Natasha ain't cheap. Okay? We already know this. Natasha ain't cheap. I own several of her palettes. So, I'm not going to tell you guys to buy it or not. But yeah, it's really up to you. I like it. I think it's a cute palette. But do you honestly need it? If you, technically, if you got the I Need a Warm, okay? This is the I Need a Warm. It's out of the packaging. You guys, I put the packaging over there somewhere because I wanted to do comparisons. But this is the I Need a Warm. So, right off the bat, I didn't, when I looked at both of them, I was like, okay, they don't look like alike, obviously. They don't. But, like I said, I thought this looked like retro and I Need a Warm. Look like they had a baby. So, look at this. I don't know if you guys could see that, but let me see. Let me see if I can get a little close up to you guys. So there are some like little, you know, orangey shades in there. It might not be 100%, you know, true. Obviously not like close up. But then you see the retro right here, right? Retro has a little bit more darkness, more depth to her. Not like this one. So they are different. You can see a little bit, but I thought, I don't know. I figured like to me, when I looked at retro up here and this one, I was like, look at, they had a baby. And I sound crazy, but I don't know. I just thought it's up to you though. Here, look at, you guys can see. This is the Bloom palette and the retro palette. Little comparison. Obviously, you know, retro is more darker feel. It does have its little pinks. It's a very, very pretty palette. It's intact, you guys. I'm embarrassed to say, but I've never used it. I never did a video. Don't judge me. I love my collection of Natasha, but sometimes stuff happens, okay? And yeah, so this is my I Need a Warm. Obviously, I Need a Warm. I did use it a couple times, so that one is loved. So yeah, you guys can totally decide for yourself. Let me do a little quick comparison to my Dream palette right here, which, like I said, I thought, because some of the peaches in there, I don't know, that's what I was thinking, some of the peach tones. But then later on when I looked at it, I was like, okay, that's not really. And this one, I used this a couple times. This one is a very loved palette as well. This one I totally recommend for my skin tone, darker skin tones, because obviously there's a lot of dark tones in here, and then we have a black, okay? Natasha has a really bad habit of not including really deepening shades in her palette. Like, that's the deepest tone apart from this one. Girlfriend, how many times do I have to say this, Natasha? Add a black or add a dark brown. And we're talking about espresso brown, dark brown. So you can make it more inclusive to all shades. Because this is the darkest shade and this one's the darkest shade. And look at this. That's what that is right here. This one that's called Bark. Okay? Bark did little to no effort. Look at that. That's bare minimum deepening smoky eyedness. Now, you use that on someone lighter than me. Oh, God. It's going to look gorgeous. It's going to look smoked out. And then Natasha has this horrible habit. I love you, Natasha, don't get me wrong, but she has this horrible habit of using her eye crayon pencils. She uses her black, and then she uses a smudge brush and smudges that crap out, right? And then she goes on with this. So now we give our customers, our people who are looking at our makeup, we're giving them the illusion that, oh my God, that's such a gorgeous eye look. This is going to deepen my corners. It's going to look nice on me. And then someone who's my tone or skin tone or darker, nothing. Nothing. Now, I could easily go and step into another palette like this one and use the black from this one and create a darker, more smoked eye look. That's fine. But I paid $69 for this BI to do that. To do just, you had one job. Like, I mean, I'm just saying, it doesn't need to be the end of the world, but come on, Natasha, get it together, girl. Get it together. And while I'm here, I want to show you guys all my Natasha collection. It's just going to be real quick, okay? I don't want to take too much of your guys' time. So this is my I Need a Warm palette. I think I did a review on this one. So this is the I Need a Warm. I did use this, I think, twice. And then I have my Natasha Denona Pastel palette. I did do a review on this one. I don't really like it. It's actually, I thought it was gonna work for my skin tone. It barely shows up on my skin tone. Don't really recommend it for anyone darker than me. Definitely there are way better palettes. In particular, Glam Night is really good at pastel palettes that are for darker skin tones. This barely showed up on me. Don't waste your time, okay? And then Love. This is the Love palette. It's a limited edition from their Valentine's Day collection. That was like the first Valentine's Day one that I bought. I didn't like it. I want to try it again because, like, I think I only used it one time. And the look I created was horrible. I was kind of a novice back then, you know, barely getting into makeup. I technically have used makeup for years, but I didn't really start getting into it like till 2019. So yeah, I definitely have to give it back and give it another try. This is the Yucca palette. I call it Yucca. And I really love this one because I love these grungy greens type of tones. And the golds. Obviously, I'm a sucker for golds, okay? Speaking of golds, the Golden palette. This is such a gorgeous. I really recommend this one. I don't know, for me, darker skin tones, so pretty in golds. It just stands out so much on their skin tone. So I really love those tones, especially if it works. Obviously, you need deeper tones to work. But like I said, Natasha has a habit of not adding deep enough tones in her palettes. This one is the Xenon palette. It was just okay. I wasn't really impressed with that one. I mean, I have a lot of other palettes that, you know, have shades like this. It was just okay. I didn't really stand out to me. I'm sorry. I didn't really like it. It was just whatever. This is the Bronze palette. I've used the bronze at least 3 times. I hated it all 3 times. And now I just keep it out of spite and bitterness because of like a piece of poop. That one will work for anybody, but I didn't like it. This is the Glam Light, the Glam palette. Why did I want to say Glam Light? This is the Glam one. Love it. I love this palette. Between this one and the Xenon one, this is your girl right here. Cool Tone palette. The look I created was so gorgeous with that one. I fell in love with that one. Zindo palette. I love this color story, but I tried to create a look with it and it just didn't work for me. And I don't know if this came with a little film. I'm pretty sure it didn't. It did probably, and I took it off. I think that's the only one I did take off, and the rest. No, this one has one. I don't know. Did the rest of them have one, you guys? What the heck? Yeah, this one. I must have took off the first couple ones. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. And then lastly, I have my Roxa palette. And then this, obviously, this one is really loved because I love purple tones. So, yeah, you guys, that's all of them. Some of them on my channel, you will see. Some of them you'll find actual reviews. And then not all of them, obviously. I don't have reviews on every single one of these. Only on some of these. So, yeah, check them out if you want to. I do have one of her big ones. This is the Circle palette. Never did a review on this one. I don't even think I used this one. I think I bought it and I wanted to use it and then it just never happened. I can show you guys it real quick. This one still has a little cover and everything. It's just, I don't think I've used it even once. I loved it because it was just so bright and bold and all these colors. And did I ever use it? No, I didn't. Okay, don't judge me for it because at this point, I'm just a collector and I'm just here to collect. Okay. So I'm gonna let you guys go. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you'll be notified each and every time I upload a video. And until next time, stay warm, stay blessed, and stay magical. Bye, you guys.